Chapter 3, Mishnah 4. The rest of the chapter deals with giving tithe produce to process or to watch to a person who is not trusted regarding masros and shevis. The Mishnah discusses whether we must be concerned that the produce was exchanged with untithed produce or with produce of shevius. We now turn to the words of the Mishnah. If someone brings tithed, non-shevius wheat to a Kuthian miller, or to a miller who is an Amma Aretz, for him to grind in the flour, it remains in its original status regarding maestros and shevius. That is, the flour of the miller returns to the owner. That is, the flour that the miller returns to the owner is presumed to have been made with the tithed, non-shevius wheat that he gave the miller. Although Kuthians and Amaya Arts are not trusted regarding masros and shevius, we are not concerned that the miller exchanged the customer's wheat with his own wheat, or with wheat that another customer, who is not trusted regarding masros and shevius, gave him to grind. This is because Kuthians and Amaya Arts are not suspected to take something that is not their own. Therefore, they are careful that each customer should receive the flour ground from his own grain. If the miller is an idolater, if, however, a person brings his wheat to an idolatrous miller, the flour he receives in return is Demai, because we are concerned that the flour was made from wheat that an Amma Aretz gave the idolater to grind. The Mishnah now discusses the law of someone who left his produce for safekeeping with a person who is not trusted regarding tithing. If someone leaves his tithed produce for safekeeping with a Kuthian or with an Amma Aretz, it remains in its original status regarding maestros and shevius. That is, we are not concerned that the Kuthian or Amma Aretz switched the produce he was given with the other produce. That is, when the produce is returned to the owner, he does not need to be concerned that it is untithed or of shevius. If the person watching the produce is an idolater, if he leaves his tithed produce for safekeeping with an idolater, the produce the idolater returns to him has the status of the idolater's produce, which is not subject to the laws of maestros and shevius. Although idolaters are suspected to take something that is not theirs, there is no concern here that the returned produce may have belonged to an Amma Aretz, which is Demai, since, unlike a miller, there is no reason to assume that this idolater has other people's produce in his possession. Therefore, the only possible concern is that he may have exchanged the Jew's produce with his own produce, which is not an issue, since the produce of an idolater is not subject to the laws of maestros and shevius. Atana disagrees. But Rabbi Shimon says the produce he receives from the idolater is Demai, because the idolater might have exchanged it with the produce given to him for safekeeping by an Am Ha'aretz. Rabbi Shimon argues that just as this Jew gave the idolater produce to watch, so too another Jew, who is an Am Ha'aretz, may have done the same. Therefore, we must be concerned that the idolater exchanged the tithe produce for Demai produce.